Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Transformation Thursday. I'm Boss Lebeska, and I'm an executive mindset coach, and I will be your host today, as always. And today I'm here with Stacy. Hello, Stacy.
Hi.
She used to be my client, but she's not here in that capacity. She's an amazing woman. She is a co-founder of Thoth London, and she calls it a trailblazing company for climate change. Um, she and her husband are, yeah, really wanting to make an impact in climate change, and it's really an inspiration to hear her talk about what she's doing, and also what they're trying to put out there in the world, making an impact. Um, so yeah, Stacy, let's hear from you.
Ah,
You know, who are you? Where are you? What are you about?
Wow. So, hi everybody. Nice to speak to everybody today. This is new for me. Podcasts. It's something that I've kind of put off for quite a while. But Baz, as it's you, I couldn't resist. I'm Stacy Hunt. I am the co-founder of Thoth London. I say Thoth. I mean, there's no real. I don't really know the correct way of saying it. Obviously, that's the way I say it. People say it in so many different ways. But we have set up our business a few years ago, and it's a husband and wife tag team, which people do tend to say, how does that work for you? Well, actually, really well. We do bounce off each other. And I think being a co founder, I've spoken to quite a lot in the last few years, and it's a very lonely job being a founder. So, being a co founder, I kind of have that. I wouldn't call it a luxury, but I kind of have that joy of having somebody that I can go to no matter what, no matter when, and we have that mutual understanding that we can work with each other and make things work. So I grew up in the West Country, so Somerset, and it's quite a little, small village, picturesque little village, and I was always surrounded by nature. So I've worked on farms, I've worked in catering, and I've had a business. I've had a cake business, which sort of boutique cake business where I make cakes for celebrities, and I've also done catering, which was it was quite big catering events, stately houses and things. So a lot of pressure. I think it's something that I was very indecisive as a child. When people say to you, what was your dream? What did you want to do? And it wasn't until recently, it was actually quite an endearing thing that I found out about myself. And I realized that I actually wanted to be a writer. And it sort of came to me recently because I've been journaling a lot. Obviously, after speaking to yourselves and having sessions with you, journaling is something that I find is a key thing for my journey in business and my personal growth. And it dawned on me, wow, I wanted to be a writer. I can remember having a typewriter bought for me for my 8th or 9th birthday, an electric typewriter, and that was something I wanted to do. And I'm not going to go into the reasons why I didn't pursue that dream, but yeah, it was it literally went away from my mind. I didn't pursue that. So I was never really sort of sure which direction I wanted to go career wise.
Mhm.
I knew I always wanted to travel and see the world and get out of the village. I think you always find you've got, some people are quite happy to stay in the village, get married, have kids, 2.4 children. But I genuinely felt that was not for me. I felt like I had an entrepreneurial mind from a very young age. I was that child that was going out, sort of, trying to make myself a few quid, washing cars, doing old people's ironing, paper rounds, working in the local pubs, you name it. That was me, always trying to save a few pennies. But yeah, I
How did
think,
you how did you come about with like starting this business with your husband?
well, I think where I've grown up, I mean, I've been surrounded by nature for years, and I've got a big love for the environment, and I've realised that we, as a planet, like we face massive challenges in preserving our planet, and I think with with myself, because I'm quite a passionate person, obviously, you know that, Baz. And I feel that, you know, with passion and determination, we could make a difference with, you know, sustainability, the construction industry. So when we had the pandemic, it was a case of, I had a funny feeling that the husband's job, you know, with job security, it was very worrying for everybody. And I had a dream. I had a dream, and it was about an Egyptian god, which kind of baffled me. I had a couple of dreams, but the main one was, it was pyramids. And I kind of had this feeling that we were meant to go on a journey together in business. And I know Alan was looking for a name, because he had a little pet project that he was doing, you know, in his spare time. And, you know, he was looking into blockchain technology and all the latest innovations that are out there. I mean, he's a design, electrical, mechanical engineer. I think I've said it right, by trade. So he's kind of got that mindset where he breaks things down and sort of builds it back up. So with my expertise in sort of, I don't know, with biodiversity, with the way that I see it, it's difficult for me because I come from a totally different background, work-wise, and Alan's very corporate. You know, he's military, he's worked in the corporate world, he's worked in engineering, so he's got a wide, broad knowledge in our sector, which has helped us tremendously. I mean, I'm going to be honest, he is the brains behind the operation. and I feel that we bring so many different things together, which fuses into Thoth, and we have a team of experts and partners that we've built up over the past 3 years in the fields that we're in. So, you know, I mean, I've had this mindset where I feel like I need to know everything. So I was very overwhelmed in the beginning. I found it overwhelming. I genuinely, I mean, I'm going to hold my hands up and be honest. I thought, can I do this? You know, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to support Alan in the way that he needs supporting? And it's for me, it was the passion, the drive, and obviously having the life coaching and putting myself out there and just doing it, just going for it. And it's something that I think I overthink things. I've always had that mentality where I overanalyze, I overthink, and instead of just being myself and just going out there and being me, it's almost like I felt I had to put on this persona and try and be somebody that I'm, you know, I need to try and be somebody else. But I've realized over the past few years going out, you know, being myself and being told that it's like a breath of fresh air is, you know, it's quite nice to hear very positive feedback. And one thing I've noticed is I've never been very good with criticism. And that's something that I've had to change, you know, because it is constructive. It is helping me on my journey. And I think that, you know, it's the potential that you have within yourself. Once you realize your potential and you can tap into that, the world is your oyster. You know, I pride myself in the things where I'm always asking questions, always learning, and always strive to be better than I was yesterday. And that's what's kept me going on this journey. I think you've helped me with the self-saboteur.
Yeah,
That's
so
been
I have another question for you, Stacy.
yeah, another question.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that you said is like, can I do this? Or you're questioning yourself.
Yeah,
But and I also know how many awards you've been
I
nominated for.
know.
So, how many more nominations or actual awards do you need to get before you start to believe that you actually are on the right track?
Yeah, no, I'm there now. I am there now. I think for me, it's the public speaking that I've had to overcome. So recently I went to Hereford, which is the home of the SAS, and I was asked to do a talk in front of military personnel. And it was something that I was very nervous about. And even though I knew it was a safe space, and I kind of worked myself up and thought, oh my God, can I do this? Can I do this? Yes, you can, Stace. And I drove to Hereford, literally left at 4 o'clock in the morning. I stopped in the Cotswolds, and I literally sat in a field about 7 o'clock in the morning. And I was just meditating, channeling myself and just getting myself prepared. And I thought, Stacey, you silly, why are you overthinking things? You know, it's literally, it's like I've got one little bird on my shoulder telling me, you know what, you've got this, girl, you're brilliant, you know, you're amazing, you've got this. And the other one's like, are you good enough? Can you do this? It's like you have those, you know, those, it's the thoughts, isn't it? It's that thought process. But I feel that now I am standing in my power. I am very happy with the progress that I've made. And I just think it's about feeling good about yourself. And, you know, we're all human. This is what I've had to tell myself. The people that I'm talking to are human. I'm human. And we all make mistakes. And we just need to just, you know, like one bit of advice I was given was never blame the tech, just move on and just keep going. And, you know, when I did this talk in front of the military, I went into the room, and I think what I did is I kind of created an image in my mind of how it was going to be when I got there, what it was going to be like, who I was going to be talking in front of. And I was actually at the same event the year previous, and I was doing we exhibited at that event. And when everybody was talking, they had, you know, the stands that you have with the microphone and you stood in front of. So I assumed that that would be how I was going to be talking. So I had 20 pages of my talk, and I've never actually used a clicker with the television before. I've always done it stood up in the kitchen, just looking in front of the mirror, talking to myself. And I went in this room, and she said, no, you're going to be in this room. And there was lots of chairs on wheels and a huge 80-inch screen, which made me think, oh my God. And I got intimidated by the screen, and I thought, oh God, can I do this? So it kind of threw me, because I thought this image that I had and the way that I was going to do it, I was starting to think, oh, that means I've got to hold the paper. I have to stand in front of the screen. So I had to kind of rechange how I was going to move forward with it. And when I got into the room, there wasn't many people in there. And he literally, one of the military guys looked at his watch and said, oh, Stacey, I'm going to rally the troops. We have a few more minutes to go, which kind of made me think, oh, God, I felt okay. So I thought, oh, it's not too many people in here. I can kind of flow. Before you know it, the room was full, and I could just feel, I felt the sweaty palms. I felt that stomach, and I could just feel the nerves. And I think I got to about page 4, and because I could still feel my voice shaking. I mean, my voice is okay now, but I generally felt that shake, and I could feel my cheeks flushing. And I was thinking, come on, Stace, just eye contact. And that's one thing that I know is so vital when you're talking to, you know, people in the public. And that was that's been something that I've struggled with from a very young age. So, you know, it's still work in progress, and I am getting there. But I think that I did a good job. You know, everybody was impressed with what I spoke about. I think I spoke about geopolitics, which, you know, the weaponization of energy, which is something that's not really on the news a lot. They sort of, you know, move around it. And it was, you know, and I had big claps. So I was very chuffed with myself. And I actually drove home that day, and I genuinely felt that I didn't do well enough. Mm-hmm. And I was, you know, I can remember phoning Alan, co-founder, sort of let him know straight away. He's like, how did it go? And I said, I think I did okay. I said, I didn't look up enough. I was clicking because of the nerves, and my hand was going click, click with the slides. So there was a few points that I came home with that I knew that I could work on for next time. But the next day, I was so overwhelmed with messages on how amazing that I did, and that, you know, I impressed everybody. I had some constructive feedback from some of the military at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And, you know, signing with the Armed Forces Covenant that day, it was just such a proud moment for me and my company, because, you know, we can give back with the Armed Forces. They do a lot, you know, they fight for our country. And, you know, a lot of the homeless people in the UK are actually ex-military, which I find really disturbing and really upsetting, you know, when they're fighting for Queen. Well, it was Queen and country. Now it's King. We've got to get that right. Yeah. So, you know, for me, it's just being able to give back. And, you know, I've spoken to the guy that does health and safety of the paras, and we're actually doing a skydive next year to raise money for the Hereford Veteran Support Centre, which is like a support centre for veterans and their families. And they come in, you know, and they can go in and have brunch. They have weekly meetings and put on charity events. So, yeah, I've also roped in the co-founder to do this, which I thought was awesome. And He's up for it. So it was one of those things I had on my bucket list that I actually went to do years ago when I was abroad. And I couldn't do it because of the weather. So the plane had to come back down, and I kind of worked myself up. But what I've realized as I've got older is you kind of fear factor kicks in a lot more because I was quite an adrenaline junkie. And what I've realized is the older I've got, the more the fears kicked in. You know, I could sit on the edge of a cliff with my legs hanging over the edge, and I would feel free as a bird. And literally endorphins are just flying through me, and I'm loving life. And you know, when you can feel the sea breeze coming up. I actually went to I think it's Durdle Door in Dorset, and there's a huge cliff. It's like the Jurassic coastline, and you can walk all the way down. And I wasn't even that far. I was quite far away from the cliff edge, but I felt this. I think it must have been like vertigo. I felt this feeling that I'd never felt before, and I was like, "Oh my God, what is that?" You know. And it's just it. Obviously, I'm in my late 40s now, so I had to think to myself, right, I need to overcome this fear. I'm not happy with that. So that's where the skydive came in. And you know, I've done a list. I've got a 50. I've got like my bucket list. So there's 50 things on it. And I've actually went through it the other day, and I've ticked off about 20 things in the last 2 years, which I think is really good. So yeah, that's it's one thing
before 50, right?
Yeah, yes, 50, yes, 50 before 50. That's actually what it says at the top. 50 before 50. There's a few things on there. Obviously, one of them is like building my own sort of eco home. That's something that I've been working with an architect, just coming up with designs. I'm very indecisive. It's my dream home, so it has to be perfect. And yeah, I've got a nice big kitchen. But yeah, there's so many things on this list that when I actually wrote the list, you know, when you think, oh no, am I going to do that? Am I going to do that? Is that too far fetched? And I thought, no, that's the whole point. It's a bucket list. Write them down, whatever comes to my mind. And yeah, I actually feel really positive about the next 3 years, because I think I'm 2 years into my 5-year plan. Obviously, we started the business, and I was going through some tough times.
How many items are left on the list?
I think I have ticked off about 27. So I think we're just over half, which is quite good. I'll show you that. I'll show you that another day.
Okay, great. So I want to take the conversation into the next part, where we always talk about turning points and change, and what you're creating for the future. So what is like a turning point for you that really started to, where things really started to turn for you in your life? And what I also want to say is, like, sometimes we look at these things that, like, they're like a major events, but sometimes they're the smallest things that just that make you see something, and you'd be like, what happened? What have I been doing? And sometimes you cannot even like point it out, or be like, that's really where it happened. But so what is that for you?
I think one of the most pivotal turning points for me in my life was losing my mum. It made me, I think she's always looked really young. She was only 60 when she passed away, which is coming up 4 years, and it's been a journey for me. I mean, I can remember it was quite quick. It's 12 weeks and she was gone. So I was able to prepare myself for her going. I mean, when I recently lost my best friend as well, which kind of knocked me back a little bit at the beginning of this year. And that was a shock. But my mum, it's kind of like I was able to prepare myself for what was about to come. And I am very, the thing is, there were so many questions that I wanted to ask her that and I just felt like it wasn't the time on her deathbed. It wasn't the time to ask that. But she gave me some really lovely words, which my mum, she's never been one to, she sort of holds back. I think the emotional awareness has never really been there with my mum. She was quite closed off sometimes when it came to expressing herself. So I thought, here we go. I've now got to show my mum and make her proud. I need to sort myself out. You know, I'm in my 40s. I had a family in my mid 30s, which is something that I never really saw myself having children. So at that point of my mum passing away, I actually had a 1-year-old, and that was something that I think he helped me get through that, definitely, because it kept me busy. My mum passed away just before COVID happened, and I found that being kept indoors was I find it difficult. You know, I did go a little bit down the wrong path, you know, having a drink. I'm not going to lie. It's something that I'm quite proud that I've overcome. It made me, I just woke up one day and thought, wow, Stace, come on. You know, I think what I did was I suppressed things. And I think, like, talking to you, that's what helped me get that out. You know, when you've got children and, you know, they're just trying to go to school and be normal, and, you know, the last thing they needed was a really over emotional mum, a broken mum. So I had to be strong for my family. That was the key thing for me. Persistence, resilience, and well, and my passion, my drive for passion. And I felt that it was I mean, even now it's not hard for me to talk about, but I don't want to, you know, sound depressing and, you know, go into that. But I've always been a perfectionist from a very young age. I've always had that thing that I've got, oh no, I have to be great at something and I need to be great at it straight away. And I've realized it's just not possible. You know, imagine starting a cake business and thinking, right, comparing yourself to the professional cake makers in magazines, thinking, yeah, I need to be like that and I need to be like that now. And I realized, yeah. And that was me. And I thought, I can't do that. You know, I need to just be real, and I need to work on myself. And I think that's one of the things losing my mum made me see. She said to me, Stacy, I have to take my hat off to you. I really thought, she kind of thought I was a bit of a drama queen, to be honest. And she was like, you're not at all. She said, I'm really impressed with how you're dealing with this whole situation. She said, you're more like me than what I care, like what I even realized, you know, because I am the eldest of 4. And, you know, the eldest children, they've seen more, they've been through more. And you kind of, you know, I have this thing where I still speak to my mum and I still talk to her like she's here. And I find that helps me. I know she's around me. I can feel it. And even down to like intuition, I'm very hot on my intuition now. You know, I know when something doesn't feel right, and I know when something feels amazing. And it's almost like I can feel things happening. And that's a really powerful thing. Once you're standing in your power and you're owning your beat, when you own, you know, it's really empowering. And I feel that the journey that I've been on the last 3 years has been a roller coaster. I have felt like giving up. You know, there have been times when I thought, I can't do this. I don't have any more strength in me. And then I'd say the things that have got me out of that headspace is nature. Nature is something that every day I go outside in the morning, I stand in barefoot, whether it's raining, whether it's, you know, no matter what the weather is, I will go outside and I will sit underneath a tree and I will have that moment to myself. I think when you have children, everything's constantly coming at you from all angles, and you just have to stay present. I think if you stay present, that is key to being successful. I really do think that with myself. I mean,
so if I may ask, I mean, I've lost my mother as well when I was 12 years old, and that is definitely a turning point in my life, and it has been. Even at that young age, you know, it's still present for me now. You know, there was a life before and a life after, and not that life after is worse, but it's just like different than I imagined it. But that's, you know. So how did you, like, the things that you learned, like, through that journey? How do you, like, bring that about in sorry, in your business? You know, these key things that you've learned through that journey.
well, I've one of the main things for me is I've kind of, the best way to describe it is like I've decluttered my brain. I've always had so many things going on in my mind. My mind is, I mean, our brains are supercomputers, in my opinion. And it's just, it's kind of like a catalogue now. It's like I've cleared out the old and I've made way for the new. And it's like, it's breaking the bad habits and breaking those old habits and understanding when you go to say, it's awareness, isn't it, really? It's like being aware. And that's something that I'm going to hold my hands up. Yeah, it's something that it's new to me in the last few years. My awareness is quite peak at the moment, and I'm listening more because I've kind of, it's going to make me sound like a narcissist, but I've always been kind of like, it's all about me, it's all about Stacy, it's all about me, and I flew through my 20s and 30s, sort of trying to. My counsellor said to me that I'm a people pleaser, which is something that I kind of got triggered by that. And I was like, yeah, a people pleaser. But then I got told it again by somebody totally different a few days later when I was having a conversation. And that kind of threw me. And I thought, you know what? I think, yeah, you're right. So it's kind of like how can I put it? It's like, you break the bad habits and the old baggage is easily dumped. You can just clear and make way. And when you have a clear energy field, you're more aware of the things that are going on around you, but you're listening. And that skill for me, listening, is something that has had to be at the forefront of my brain because I'm talking to people. Alan has pushed me to go out networking. Now I can go out and I'm a chatty lady. I can go out and I'll speak to random strangers. I am that person that will walk up to you and make you feel good in one day. Or if I see somebody looking really lovely, I will pay them a compliment. And I do believe that you pay a compliment to somebody or make somebody feel good, then that person is going to go off and do that to somebody else, and it's going to, and it's like that domino effect. It's like paying it forward. And I am a true believer in that, and I think it will make the world a better place. If everybody just did one thing nice in a day, imagine how much difference that would make in the world. So I'm a big believer in oneness. I am a big believer in that, and I think we patience, positivity, and persistence, that's the three things that I have. And journaling is something that I do in the morning for 10 minutes. I try and wake up earlier than everybody else. Then that way I have that time to meditate, ground myself and prepare myself for the day. Being organized is key as well. I mean, obviously, being a working mum, running a business and a home, it's not easy. And I do get a lot of messages on a weekly basis just saying, I don't know how you do this, Stacey. I don't have children and I am, I'm working 2 jobs or, I've got a home, but I don't know how you do it. And I actually sit there and think, how does this woman do this on a daily basis? I've always been 100 miles an hour. I think, my doctor has, and my counsellor has said that, that she thinks I've got ADHD. And I think that's where I've struggled with the brain, as in sort of, putting things into sequences. Sometimes, I'm very articulate when it comes to writing things down, and I'm very good with reading and writing. But sometimes when it comes to saying things out, I have struggled with that. So that's things that I've been working on, and that's work in progress. I'm constantly learning, and I'm always trying to be better than the person I was yesterday. That's the key things. But I think, wherever you are in life, you've got comeback power, because the power's in here. You've got that power. You're in control of it. Don't have that self-doubt and self-belief. Just stand in your power and own it. And that's literally the point where I am in my life now. It's quite exciting. I am like an excited puppy sometimes, I've been told. I do get.
No, but you built this business up from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how?
Literally from the kitchen table. It was at the kitchen table, brainstorming, going through the things. So say, within the UK to start with, the problems with construction, the problems with the environment, even down to, what the government, which direction that they're going, not going down into politics right now, but there are so many things that need to change. And I'm a strong believer in collaboration over competition. I think that if we work together, instead of working in silos, we can make a massive difference. We can make change. And, you know, when you've got children, and I think there must be a lot of people out there, even in business and, you know, non mums, dads, families, we all sort of have this, we have kind of like have blinkers on. It's like we don't really see what's going on in the real world. But that's why I think there's so many distractions out there, especially with the television and the media. And, you know, you carry on with your life as long as you people have this thing about materialism. Well, you know, I've got this, I'm going on my holidays. As long as I get a holiday once a year, I'm okay. You know, that's the kind of people, when I've been talking to people, that's the feedback that I get. And what I've realized is this personal growth of mine is shocked me recently, because I feel different to the people. It's almost like the network of people around me has changed, and I'm not in the same circle of people. It's like I had all these people around me that I thought were friends, but what I've realized is they're just acquaintances, and they're people that you know. And are they helping me on my journey, or are they holding me back? And I found that a lot of people were holding me back, and I've never felt that I had the brain power to run a business. I mean, I would, you know, I mean, my mum and dad, when I actually said things over the years, were like, really, you doing that? Oh no, Stacey, you know, university, Stacey, no, our family, we don't do university, you know, we're not clever enough. And but who says we're not clever enough? That's the perception that you're feeding me as a child. So it's, you know, love them dearly, but I think when you have a fixed mindset, you're not able to grow. And I've got a growth mindset, and I realized that I've always had a growth mindset. It's just that I've strayed off the path. I've not continued on my path because I decided to listen to the voices around me, thinking that they were directing me in the right way for the greater good. But then I thought, no, I need to grow. I need to blossom. I need to flower, and I need to move away from, you know, country life. And I came to London. And I will be honest, the first couple of years, I really struggled. I didn't struggle fitting in. I made lots of friends, but I find that one thing about London is there's always an excuse to drink alcohol, which for me, it's true. It's really true. It's like, oh, fancy coming for a drink, Stacey? And, you know, where I live now, it's kind of suburbia. It's outer London. So it's kind of classed as Surrey. And it's kind of like a little village. But a town it's a village on the outskirts of a town, and it's lovely. It's really lovely. The people are lovely, really lovely community spirit, and people are really passionate about the environment and making a difference. And I love that. And it's almost like a village mentality, but with a city. It's like village living with a city mentality. And I like that. I think, oh, the sun's come out, Baz. And I love that. And it's nice because I've been able to grow. It's kind of like I was able to reinvent myself and be the person that I've always wanted to be, without people saying, oh, but that's not you. That's not you. But how do you know what's me? You know, so people like yourself giving me like such invaluable advice over the last few years, it's helped me in a way where I've been able to grow gradually, instead of just being 100 miles an hour thinking, right, I need to do this and I need to be great now. I've thought it's progress, Stacey. It's work in progress. You just need to slow down, stay present, and put 150% into everything that you do. And if you make mistakes, that's fine. We're human. We make errors. Don't be too judgmental on yourself. But yeah, so I just think as long as I'm better than who I am yesterday, that's all that matters. And accountability is key for me. I'm always accountable for my actions now, and that's quite a nice thing to see, especially.
Great. Yeah. So you said something about change, you know, and
Yeah.
that's also something that we talk about in this in this life. So yeah, the last 4 years have been quite challenging and quite changing for you. So how did you get to like embrace change? And if I can add a second question to it, is that you work in a business that's, you know, it's changing so rapidly. You know, it's like there's a new thing about the environment every day. You know, and it's like it's just on and on and on. But to run a business, you know, you also need to have some consistency.
Yeah.
You know, so how do you like combine the two? So
I think I think the fact that we're very agile as a company, so we've been able to sort of move our business in the way, and we haven't got, you know, huge, well, I wouldn't say overheads, but, you know, it's where we are, we've sort of stayed under the radar, and we've just cracked on and produced the technology, the innovations. I mean, we've been working on our blockchain for a long time, and, you know, lots of people sort of say, well, you know, can I see your white paper? And it's like, not yet. You know, it's been stress tested at the moment, and for me, it's decentralized technology, and, you know, it's going to make a massive impact on the environment, on the planet, and that for me is key to what we're doing. And I think where we have, like, we celebrate the power of innovation, that's what we're doing. It's like creating a brighter future together. And I think where myself and Adam, we have such different viewpoints, but when we come together, it's like it works in harmony. And I feel that the way we're moving forward so fast, it's like I have to stay present, I have to keep myself grounded, and I have to, it's kind of like we're revolutionizing the way that we tackle climate change. I mean, I don't even say climate change as much now. I've said changing climate because it's like trigger words for people. There's a lot of skeptics out there, and I don't think the media or the government help with, you know, how we look at the climate. I mean, you know, COVID's been and gone, the climate problems are still there, and they're getting worse. And, you know, hearing what I heard yesterday on the news about the fact that, you know, the UK are actually starting to drill for more, you know, want to drill for more oil and gas in the North Sea. It's just, you know, I mean, we were quite agitated last night in the kitchen having a discussion about it. I mean, we debrief, we talk every day. We are constantly watching things and looking at what's going on. We've got a huge team around us that actually, that they're finding information for me on a daily basis. And it's, you know, we have to know what's going on. It's constantly changing, it's constantly evolving, and, you know, evolution is upon us. But we are moving into a digital age. We're moving into an age of innovation and technology, and we have to embrace it. So for me, I think I've just said to myself, I am now in GreenTech, and, you know, I was like, oh my God, I'm a woman in GreenTech. And I didn't realize that it's quite a rare thing. And going to some of these events and I went to an event recently. I think there was about 4 women in this event, and it really made me nervous. I walked into this huge building, one of the, not far from Trafalgar Square, stunning building. The architecture in London is phenomenal. And I instantly felt intimidated because there was just men everywhere. And I thought, no, I'm fine. And I thought, no, I need to stand in my power. So I asked one of the ladies as I walked in, I said, can you take a photo of me in front of the board? Just to try, you know, and I walked in, and instantly I'll share a story with you. So this guy came up to me and he asked me what I did. So I said, you know, we are a climate tech company. I explained what we do. And he turned around and he went, and I spoke about green hydrogen, to which he replied, oh, well, it's flammable, you know, and he got really touchy about it. And I said, well, so is gas that you cook with, and so is petrol that's in your car. It's flammable, but you're driving your car around. I said, you know, we need to look at how it's, you know, things are in abundance instead of drilling and taking from Mother Nature. I feel sometimes that, you know, humanity can be quite almost like parasites, take without giving back. And this is what we're about, spreading awareness and knowledge. And I said, anyway, enough about me. I said, what do you do? And he said, well, I work for, I said, well, there you go. You work for, you don't own a business or run a business, you work for somebody, you know, and you are actually trying to make me feel uncomfortable when potentially I am somebody that you could sell into my business, which now the chances of me doing business with you are going to be very slim. And he was just like, oh my God. And he actually came up to me later and he turned around and he said, you know, wow. He said, I was quite impressed by that. He said, I like a strong woman. He said, you kind of remind me of my wife. And I was like, okay. He said, and she's the only woman that's ever put me in my place. So and I thought, oh, wow. I actually took that as a big compliment. And it's nice to be able to be in a room and be able to just be yourself and that works. And I've realized I just need to be myself. I don't have to put on a pretense or airs and graces. I can just be Stacy, and that's a powerful thing. So yeah, it's exciting. I've got lots of award ceremonies to go to this year, Baz.
Very good, very exciting.
But I just think that there's, it's like a shared commitment. This is how I look at it. It's a shared commitment of creating a brighter future together. So, we've got boundless potential with human ingenuity. And then there's the small actions, I think, that can make a really profound impact globally. And I think, if we all do those little things, it's gonna make a massive change. I think I answered those questions.
Yeah, you did. Very good.
I can go off a bit, Baz. You've probably noticed that.
That's fine. That's fine. So how do you, like, for yourself, like, how do you catch yourself that you are resisting change?
Oh,
yeah, tough question.
yeah. Oh,
Or what do you do when you resist change?
I've always been very critical of myself. I am my own worst critic, and I've had to. It comes back to that awareness. I have to stay aware every day, and if I don't, then I can easily slip off. I mean, obviously, women can be very emotional, and I have been quite an emotional creature. Obviously, after you have children, it does kind of change things with your body as a female. And I do try and keep a level of professionalism. I try not to talk too much about being a mum or having a family, even though obviously it's something that I am very proud of. And, I'm proud of my family and, where we're going and, what we're building, because I do want to leave a legacy for my children. And this is the main reason why I have done this business. They are my drive. They are my reason for breathing. And they are the reason that I know that this business is going to be a huge success. It's because we all dream. We all have dreams, and I've always been a very big dreamer. I think Alan's quite a dreamer as well. But we've just thought, right, let's put these dreams into a reality, and let's try and make that change so that we can get as many people on board as possible. I mean, the great thing is, I feel that we are going to be able to change so many lives, and I think that for me is one of the driving forces for me, knowing that we can make that change. And the people that have helped me over the past 3 to 4 years, I've not had it easy, Baz. It's not something, I feel ready to share with the world yet, my true story behind the reasons why I do what I do. I've had a very, very intense few years of extreme mental health, depression, anxiety, all of those things that have led me to where I am today. I think losing my mum knocked me, but it also got me back on that road, because I think, she's not died for nothing. She didn't die in vain. I will make her proud, and I know she's super proud of me. And I can't wait to. One of the things that I've just always had in the back of my mind is, when you accept an award, and I'm just going to be doing that for my mum. The first one I stand up there is for my mum, and even just makes me emotional just thinking about it, because it's something that I never if you'd have asked me 5 years ago, would I see myself where I am today? Not a chance. Never in a million. I would never have even been able to sit down and talk to you. When I started doing the Zooms in lockdown, I was really nervous. I didn't like what I looked like. I was very self-conscious, and I thought, it's you that sees this. Other people don't see what you see. And I think, even down to when a prime example is when I used to make cakes. It's like I saw every imperfection, every flaw on that cake, and I was like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I need to do it better. But what I learned over time was that people, you see that, but others don't see what you see. And I've realized that, the perfectionist side of me, that's when it had to move. I had to change the dynamics of how I saw things. And it has worked. I do think an element of perfectionism is good, because it kind of keeps me up there. But I've also, one of the other things that I've learned is that also listening to yourself, my counselor, and also my yoga teacher, and I've kind of got a nutritionist as well that's helped me. There's two key facts. A healthy gut and eating healthy is key to having the brain power that I need. It keeps the clarity that I get. I mean, once a month, I detox my body. I do cold water therapy, which, you know, I did it. I was kind of doing it unconsciously in the shower. I've always switched to cold, but then it got to a point last year where I was really struggling mentally. I was having cold showers throughout the whole winter. And to the point where I would do a cold shower and I would get somebody to time me and say, could you just time me for 3 minutes? And they would leave it going in the middle of winter when it was really cold for 6 minutes. And I was thinking, I'm getting really cold now. I can feel this. And I'm trying to deep breathe. I was thinking, what are they doing? And they were like, yeah, that was 6 minutes. Great job.
Great.
It is that's really powerful, really powerful.
Yeah.
You made me see that. And I think being healthy mind, healthy body gives you clarity that you need to focus, and that's key for me. When you've got a busy mind, if you can clear that mind and get that clarity, it's great. And also coffee's helped.
So what is it that, I mean, you're so, I mean, I know you and Alan, you know, and that's like, that's why I want to bring him into the conversation. And I know that the two of you, you know, create this, you know, you're really like a one unit.
Yeah, it's like it's like it is unified almost. It's like it's like we've become one entity. It's really it's crazy. And you know, I'm hot on energy. I'm hot on protecting my energy field around me, because I'm quite sensitive in the way that I can feel people in, like, emotionally. And when, you know, if I'm talking to somebody, I can kind of feel if they've got something underlying, and that is quite a powerful tool. I kind of call it my superpower. But with Alan, it's kind of like we know what each other's thinking, which is amazing. I did worry in the beginning. I thought, can we do this together? Are we going to be okay working together? Because he did help me in business. And I think there's pivotal moments throughout our careers and throughout our life where we've helped each other or we've done something. So he helped me with the whole business side of my catering business and my cake business. He helped me to understand the business side of things and also the structure, and that was really good. But at that time, I was not the person that I am today. So I took the criticism badly. I was kind of, why are you being like this? And you know, we did have a few arguments back then. But I realized now the great thing is actually going through that sort of 10, 15 years ago has helped me with both of us working together today. I mean, he's kind of like my mentor. He's been like that there's a few people that have helped me on my journey. One of them is my ex-army friend. He's been amazing, but he's ever so busy. So what happened is Alan kind of became my mentor. And, you know, we debrief every night. We sit down in the morning and we debrief before we do stuff. We have a team that debrief us as well and bring us information. So it is a very structured working week. But one thing I've realized is it's when you're really passionate about something and when you love what you do, I genuinely don't feel like it's a job. I feel like it's part of me. It's who I am. And I could not see myself doing anything different. I love what we do. I love the message that we're trying to get across. And I love the fact that we're going to be able to change so many lives and make a difference with the planet, because the planet needs it right now. And, you know, it's almost like we have this thing where, you know, you get so many skeptics coming up against you saying about, you know, the climate change, oh, it's not real. And I'm thinking, well, you know, it's like the climate is there and the scientists are telling us what we need to know. They have been for years. So if you've got a leak under your sink, you're not gonna call, you know, Doris off of Facebook. You are literally going to call a plumber, and he's an expert at what he does. So he's going to fix your sink. And it's the same as the planet. The scientists know, they've got the knowledge. They've been working on it for years. So why are we not listening to the scientists? Why are we listening to governments and organizations that really don't have a clue about, the science of the planet. It baffles me, but this is what we're here for. This is what we're aiming to do. So we got to make a change.
And what is it that you want to create? Let's say in the immediate future, or what is like the impact you want to make in the immediate future? Let's say in the next year.
In the next year, so for me, it's getting our platform off the ground, and these projects are in the motion now. They're all sort of slowly moving in the background, and there is I firstly, one of the main things, I need to find myself an assistant that works with me. I've realized it's come to that point where I've got a team around me, but I need that sidekick. I feel like the time has come, because I am very, very busy, and a lot of people say to me, don't you have an assistant? And where I have this thing where I feel like I need to do everything myself, and that's, again, that boils down to the perfectionist in me, because I think it's like I've had a cleaner, and I am that person, Baz, that will clean my house before a cleaner turns up. It's crazy, isn't it crazy? But it's because I'm like, oh my God, she's going to come in and think, God, how messy is this place? So I kind of have it's crazy. It's almost like delegation is key. I've learned to delegate, but I do like to oversee things, and it's kind of like, I'm not a control freak. I'm not, honestly, but I do like things to flow. I like things to flow, and I think this is where me and Alan, we do. Communication is key, and I think it's quite easy to get caught up in the world of business and what you're doing. I'm very busy in the day, and I go out in the evening as well, so I've just had to tell myself that balance is key, and self-care is imperative for me. I'm very easy to keep going and think, I'll meditate later, I'll do yoga later, and it kind of slips through the net, and then before you know it, I think, oh my God, I've not actually done any self-care for 3 days. And that's when it could turn into a bit of a catastrophe. If I let that lead on to a week, it's quite easy to slip back into bad habits. And that's something that I'm very aware of, and that this is why journaling helps. I set myself goals every day. So I set myself my top 3 priorities that I have in a day. I set myself my top goal. And then I also make sure I have time for journaling morning and night, meditation morning and night. And sometimes, even if it's only 10 minutes, when you've got children, you tend to get interrupted when it comes to the personal things. But yeah, it's literally once a month, I will kind of go over what achievements I've had. So say June, I thought June was a very stressful month. And I didn't think, because I hadn't journaled for a week, I was like, oh my God, June was a washout. It literally was that kind of feeling. Yeah. And then I looked back over all the achievements I'd done and I'd written down for June, and my mind was blown. And I was like, wow. So I've got a space for 10 achievements that I've done throughout the month. And I actually had 17 that I'd done throughout June that really sort of pinnacle points and changing points for me. And that blew my mind. It actually blew my mind. And I've also, one thing that I've done this year is I've got my happy jar. So it's about this, well, it's huge. It's a big glass jar, and I've got it for the kids as well and myself. So every time I have an achievement or something, an award or something that's happened, I've wrote it down and I put it in the jar, and the jar is almost full. And what are we, July? So these little things that I have these ideas and think, yes, that's a great idea, I'm going to do it. But I never follow it through, and I've been following it through. Yeah,
my own jar.
Yeah, but it's amazing. I mean, it does work. I can't wait to go through that jar at the end of the year with the kids and look at all of the really amazing moments that will make you, because we do focus on. We focus on the negative. We always focus, as a society.
We forget.
And we forget what we've done. And this is why I've said it's really key to journal. Even what I've done is if I don't have that time to sit down, because once I start writing, I can easily get caught away for an hour. So what I do is I just write down the key points and my feelings. So in the morning, I'll write down how I'm feeling, how my body is, how I'm feeling mentally, and what I'm what I'm looking forward to, and then that way I can go back and it will trigger me and remind me, and I can sit down and start writing about it. But if I do not write down those key points and those key words, I won't remember that, because you're just busy. And we can all get caught up in life. Life is busy, but yeah, staying present and having that time to yourself to just reflect on your week and on your month is key. I mean, I kind of look at my personal growth as well. That's something that I've been looking at, and I sort of go over what my greatest insights are over the past month, how I'm feeling about my progress over the month, and almost like, did I stay in the flow and enjoy the journey regardless of the outcome? That's basically what I've been doing. And so, like, obstacles and fears, did I overcome them? And how I sort of encountered them within myself. So these are the things that I do on an emotional level as well for my journaling, which is kind of quite impressive. The journal is getting really good. And another crazy thing is I've actually had a lady ask me about writing a book with my journey.
I was going to ask you, when are you going to write that book?
Yeah.
I think that's a very good moment to start wrapping things up.
Yes. Yeah.
First of all, I really want to thank you for the great conversation, Stacy. We've discussed like changing.
It's been a pleasure.
Changing your life in your with passing away with your mom, and the lessons you learned and how you take them into your business, and how you make how you evolved your partnership with Alan, your husband, and how that's flourishing in the business. I'm sure that's also not always easy, being co-founders, being partners, and being parents at the same time. And also like what you're creating for the future, and some of the challenges that you took on, like speaking for the military, and speaking in public. One of the biggest fears people have, standing in front of people, there is this saying, people rather be dead than having to give the eulogy,
Yeah. Do you know, if it was my dad?
Huh?
Yeah, my dad gave me some good advice before the military speech, and he literally said, it's with the eye contact, he said, but just pick on one person in the audience. And it was, and the military guy said exactly the same thing. And I was quite impressed. I mean, my dad's quite good at public speaking. He's done a lot of it in his time, from what I can, when I look back over it. And he's always been quite a confident person. I think that's where I get a lot of my people skills from my dad, because my mum was quite an introvert. She was quite shy. She wasn't overly talkative, whereas me, chatterbox. And I think when you're from a big family, people kind of fight for the conversation. So I've learned that this is where I've learned about being present, about listening, and and creating this journey of greatness, Bass. It's one thing I've noticed about today with these podcasts is that I can, it's quite easy to get carried away talking, isn't it? Something that's quite worrying for me, because I was thinking, oh, please just don't say the wrong things, and make sure
you didn't.
If anybody needs to get hold of me as well, it's Stacy at thothlondon.com, but I am on LinkedIn as Stacy H, and obviously we will have the links on the podcast so people can get in contact with me. But renewable energy, green hydrogen, green tech, the moving with the innovations that we're doing. So if anybody's got any questions or needs to sort of dive deeper into what we're doing, I'm quite happy to have a Zoom or a face-to-face meeting with you guys out there. But it's exciting times ahead. Don't worry. And we've also got our launch coming soon, Baz, where you'll be taking a trip over to London.
Okay, good. Yeah, so I'll put in all the links, so that you can get in touch with Stacy, and please do so if you want to talk about any of the things that she she mentioned. So I really want to thank you for watching. My name once again is Bas Lebesque. You can reach me @myname.com. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you again on the next episode.
Well, I think I have to come over to Amsterdam soon for a meeting. So, yeah, we will definitely be catching up, Baz. I look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you so much. And thanks, everybody, for watching. I hope it's come across in a good light.
Yeah,
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care, Baz. Bye. Bye.